Okay, let's look at the homework 1.5-1.6, problem number 6. All right, so we want to find the domains of these functions. All right, so let's look at part A. All right, so the function is 4 minus e to the x squared all over 1 minus x to the 4 minus x squared. All right, so since we have a fraction, we have to make sure that the denominator is non-zero. All right, so denominator, so this guy has to be, so it cannot be equal to 0. All right, so let's do that. So here we can we can add e to the 4 minus x squared to both sides of the inequality. We can get 1 cannot be equal to e to the 4 minus x squared. Right? Then to solve it, since we want to isolate x, I'm gonna just take the natural log of both sides. Right? So you would have a natural log of 1, right, cannot be equal to, right, natural log of e to the 4 minus x squared. Right? Then remember that the natural log of 1 is actually 0. So this guy is 0, right? And also, using the inverse property of exponential function and the log function, these guys actually cancel out each other, right? So you end up getting 4 minus x squared, right? Then we can simply factor out. So left hand side is still 0, so it cannot be equal to, right? So I'm going to factor this out. So this is going to be 2 plus x times 2 minus x. All right. So therefore, we get x cannot be, so x is not equal to, right, negative 2 or positive 2. So it's a plus or minus 2. Right? So if you write the domain in the interval notation, right, so all we have to do is we have to eliminate negative 2 and positive 2. So negative infinity to negative 2, skip negative 2, and go all the way to 2, positive 2, and skip positive 2, then go to positive infinity. All right? So that's the domain of the function in part A. All right, so let's look at the part B. All right, same idea. Denominator cannot be 0, so we don't want this guy to be 0. All right. Then so we have to look at this expression carefully, right? Right. So this is basically exponential function with cosine function plugged in. But remember that the e to the anything is always going to be positive, right? So this guy is never 0, right? No matter what. So this guy, since this guy is greater than 0. Remember that the exponential function is always above, the graph is always above the x-axis. So this guy is always positive, which means that it's never 0. So we can plug in any x value and the denominator is never 0. So therefore, the domain is all real numbers because there is no restrictions, right? So it's going to be negative infinity to positive infinity. All right, so let's plug it in and see what happens. All right, so so the domain is negative infinity to negative 2, and skip 2, and a -2 to +2, and skip +2, then go all the way to +infinity, right? And this one are all real numbers, so it's going to be -infinity to +infinity. All right, let's submit for testing. All right, it came back and looks like we got both parts correctly. All right, that's it. I hope that this was clear.